Hey everybody, Beth Helvey with Couture Real Estate. How are you doing? It is Wednesday, May 26th. Memorial Day weekend is this weekend, and then we'll be in June. I mean, it just seems to be going by pretty quick this time around. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's talk about the April stats that came out. Now, don't forget, one of the things we're doing is we're comparing April of 2021 with April of 2020. April of 2020, around the 1st or the 2nd, Sarasota, especially all of Florida, went into a lockdown. And we were on a lockdown for 30 days, strict lockdown, and then things started easing. So when we go over these numbers, don't forget that that's what we're comparing it to. Take it with a grain of salt. However, we all know that inventory is low. We know that there are a lot of people buying in the area. We all know that builders are behind their typical schedule, mostly because of a lack of supplies or an increase in how much supplies cost. That is also affecting it. New construction does affect sales. So in Sarasota County, we're going to talk about single family homes. Closed properties that closed where somebody got a check, a seller got a check, and a buyer got a set of keys, was up 67%. Again, now April of last year would have been kind of normal because the process of closing started in February and March, typically. It'll be interesting to see what the closed comparison looks like in, say, June or July compared to last year, because our closed sales go back 6-8 weeks roughly. Here's an interesting stat that's getting thrown in. The median percentage of original list price to sales price. In 2020, it was 96.5%, which is a typical average for this area. So whatever price the property is listed at, the house sells or the property sells at roughly 96.5% of that listed price. Now, in 2021, for April, it was 100%. Here's part of the reason why that's interesting. You're hearing about the rest of the country and even Canada that there are properties going for a ridiculously overpriced amount. You're talking, don't even put an offer in unless you're willing to go $30,000 over and things like that. We are seeing that here. We are seeing, I look at the closed sales every single day. I am seeing properties where I'm sure that whomever entered the information hit the wrong number because the amount is ridiculously over amount. But I'm also seeing properties where the amount that's over is just a tick, maybe $1,000, maybe $5,000, depending on the price point. And it looks almost like it was probably a multiple offer situation, and whomever offered that just wanted to give themselves a little bit of a boost. I'm also seeing properties selling for contract price, for listing price and under. There are properties closing at under contract or under list price. I think there is some inflation of the asking price going on, but I don't think it's as rampant as it is in other states. I think we are not quite as bad. Time to contract went down 75%. You know this if you're a buyer. Heck, if you're a seller, you know this. You put your sign in the yard, you walk back in the door, guess what? You're on a contract. I know it's a joke, but that's basically what's happened. It went from 33 days in April to 8 days in April of last year. Again, don't forget, April of last year, we were in lockdown. Yes, realtors are still working. We were still helping people buy and sell properties, but things slowed down dramatically. But needless to say, in April of last month, April of 2021, it was 8 days. Okay, pending has gone up 88%. That's important. We went from 858 pending to 1,621 pending. Again, this has to do with the lockdown last year. New listings, properties that are new to the market, went up 85%. That's also good. That means we are getting inventory on the market. It's just going quickly. Months of inventory went from 3.5% to 0.7%, so it went down 80%. Months of inventory, a balanced market, according to the National Association of Realtors, is considered 6 months. So even before the lockdown started, we were still not caught up to where we should have been. Granted, if you came to the area to buy a property, chances are you went home under contract. It wasn't like in 2015-ish, 2014-ish, where there were still people going home without a property because, they just didn't see anything they liked because there wasn't enough inventory. It's a little bit more dire than that. Now let's talk about condos in Sarasota County. Condo closings for April of 2021 is up 113%. Don't forget, in April of 2020, people stayed away from condos. It was weird how condos for April and May, and even a little bit into the summer, until things started easing, until we started opening up, people still weren't buying condos. Part of it was we couldn't get into them. There were some condos that locked down and wouldn't let a realtor in. And if you sold it, it was sight unseen, and not everybody's willing to do that. Part of it was people didn't want to be in a confined situation because with the coronavirus, we were still learning about it. So there's a little bit of both going on. Pretty much all of the condos, with the exception of a handful, have gone back to their pre-April allowances for letting realtors in. Some of them kind of liked not having us in that much, so they kept a little bit of a strict schedule for us, but pretty much we're back to normal. Time to contract with condos in Sarasota County has gone down 71%. Again, same thing. There's just not enough inventory. The percent of the list price of condos, this is important. Condos is a big market in this area. A lot of people buy condos. Went from 95%, which is pretty normal, to 99%. Again, we're not seeing the numbers where things are going a huge amount over like you are seeing in the rest of the country. And I have colleagues in Canada that are telling me crazy numbers. Pending went up 118%. 118%. Again, there wasn't much going pending in April of 2020. Don't forget that. We have 88% new listings compared to last year, which makes sense. And we have 0.9 months of inventory, which fell from 4.6. Again, the 4.6 is still lower than it should be. Now let's talk about Manatee County. Manatee County got hit a little harder for some reason, especially in the condo department last year. Closed sales went up 69% for single-family properties. Percent of original price for single-family properties in Manatee County went from 97% to 100%. We're still seeing the same thing in Manatee County, where there are properties going for a crazy amount over, but not all of them are. So it's balancing itself out. Time to contract went from 26 days to 7 days. That's not a lot of time. Pending, we're up 72% in pending, and we're up 74% in new listings. We have more people buying right now than we have listings going to market. It's simple supply and demand. We went from 3.3% inventory to 0.6% inventory. We don't have enough inventory. Condos in Manatee County took a harder hit last year than condos in Sarasota County. I don't know why, it's just how it happened. Condos in Manatee County sales are up 126%. Of course. The percent of list price went from 95% to 99.9%. Not quite 100, but pretty darn close. Time to contract went from 41 days to 11 days, so that's down 73%. Pendings are up 114%, and new listings are up 99%. So we're seeing properties again in Manatee County coming on the market and just getting snapped right up. Inventory is from 4.4 months to 0.7 months. So basically, if you're a seller, this is a great time to sell. You're going to get, if you don't get your asking price or over, you're going to get darn close. And that is not something that can be almost guaranteed. I mean, realtors hate to use absolute terms, but you will. All kinds of properties are selling. Everybody's selling. There's still investors out there gobbling up properties because they know if they fix it up, they can get a great renter in there, or they can turn around and sell it, and they know this. So there's still investors gobbling up properties. It's a good market for them. And everybody else is too. And the thing is people are willing to pay a little bit more. Interest rates are low. More people who own a home someplace else either own it outright or have a lot of equity in it. They're comfortable with paying a little bit more here because this is a choice purchase, not a necessity purchase here. But again, because it's a choice purchase, there are buyers who will say, you want that much more than it's worth? No, I'm moving on, because they don't have to buy. So you need to be a little bit careful, which is part of the reason I think that we are seeing around 100% of ask price for what properties go for, instead of 120%, 115% like rest of the country. We are still largely a choice market, even for the families that move here that are still working. I hope this makes sense to you. I'm going to put a graphic together and I'll post it a little bit later today. Essentially, the nuts and bolts of it. If you're a seller, today's a great day to sell. You're going to sell. We expect to see this for several months. Economists are even predicting for the rest of the year, because as long as the interest rates stay low, which means they're going to hover around 3 to 3.5%, there are still going to be people entering the market, because why not? The interest rates being low are allowing them to purchase more for their money than they could this time last year or the year before. As long as the interest rates stay low, then we're going to see this. So get your house ready. You still need to get it ready. You still need to clean it up. You still need to stage it. You still need to take great pics. You still need to do all that. Buyers, this means when you enter the market, you got to hit the ground running. If you're going to pay with cash, have your proof of funds available, and you should give it to your realtor prior to looking, because I have written contracts on the hood of my car and submitted them right there. And other realtors are doing the same thing. If you're paying with a loan, get that loan and that pre-approval locked in and have it ready, so you know your buying power and you know your comfortable range. You know that if the purchase price or the contract price is going to go above your comfortable range, you know to stop if you want to, or go a little bit above, or whatever you're comfortable doing. Have that knowledge. You don't want to get to the closing table and find out that your monthly payment is higher than you thought it was going to be, because granted, you get this information up front, but buying a property is a bit of a whirlwind process, and not everybody catches everything as it comes through. Okay, that's what you need to do. If you have any questions, please let me know. Put it in the comments, shoot me a DM. I love hearing what you all have to say. I love hearing your questions. Today's gorgeous. It's Florida. What do you expect? It is going to be close to 90 degrees. Perfect beach weather. It's sunny, it's breezy, and I don't even think it's going to rain. So if you have the chance to get outside, I encourage you to do so. Drink plenty of water, wear your sunscreen, and I'll talk to you later. Bye, everybody.